Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Alice and I'm an urban gardener. I want to start by saying thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to this channel and to those of you that are actually trying to do some gardening and learning and giving me feedback. I really appreciate that. And so gardening is all about experience, so my experience can be different from yours. My soil would be different from yours. And so I'm really enjoying to learn, to hear all your experiences and all the things you're doing to try and do some gardening. Gardening is really, really therapeutic, and especially at a time like now, it's an activity that I would encourage everyone to try and do in whatever small space or whatever small way you can. So today's topic is seed germination success. How to be successful at germinating seeds. So once we've planted our seeds in the soil, whether it's in a pot or in the ground, we need to think about the key success factors or the key factors that are going to lead to a successful germination. So seeds start in a state called dormancy. That means that they are dormant. They are waiting for the right conditions for them to be able to germinate. There are three key things that a seed requires so that it can be able to break dormancy and therefore germinate. So these three things are warmth, oxygen, and water. If you get these three things right, then your seeds are going to germinate successfully. So what is warmth? Warmth is basically the temperature that is surrounding the seed. It could be the temperature of the soil and even of the environment around it. And so if you're planting your seed in a pot or in a container, the advantage of this is that you can give the seed the warmth that it requires by putting it indoors or putting it in a warm place. So you can put it in a place either in the house or in a position where it will be warm enough for the seed to feel comfortable and happy enough to be able to germinate. If you're starting your seed in the garden, then this is when you cover. So you do a covering using a cloche or something or even the tops of containers. Sometimes I use the top of a water bottle. You can just cut that bit and then you sow your seeds and you can use that to cover, as long as you give the seed some room to feel warm. So you can use many different types of things, and so you keep the seed warm. The second one is oxygen. What is oxygen? Oxygen is what we breathe. So what does that mean? That means that you do not put your seed in a place where it is covered so much that there's no air circulation of oxygen for the seed to be able to continue with the process of germination. So that means that if you're planting again in a container or in a pot, there should be drainage holes, that this allows water to pass and also allows for oxygen to flow freely. In the garden, well, there you go. There's oxygen there, but also don't cover with a material that will suffocate the seed instead of helping the seed to germinate. And the third one is water. And this one is a very important one because too much can cause you problems, and too little, of course, again can cause you problems. So now I'm going to talk about water in a little bit of depth, because water is one of the key things that I find can make or break you when you're starting your seeds. So when it comes to water, one of the things that I have found to work best for me is that once I sow my seeds, I have watered adequately enough. I put it in a warm place. Most of the time I'll put it like on a windowsill, and then I will not water again until the seed germinates. But it depends on exactly what seed I have planted and how long it's taking to germinate. So this is a little bit up to you to be able to check your seeds and check the soil and find out how your seeds are progressing, so that you can be able to determine how much to water and how little to water. But I'm going to talk about what you use for watering. So you use a spray You use a spray bottle, yeah, a spray bottle like this, and you just mist it like that. This I know have germinated, but I'm just doing it to simulate how to water your seeds, so that you don't expose the seeds, and so that you don't overwater. So you use a spray bottle on mist mode. You can even make one at home. You can take a old water bottle. The small ones is the 1 liter or half a liter. Put small holes at the top, and then you use that to water. Because what happens is, if you overwater, is you start to notice, I don't know whether now, you start to notice some green moss like growths growing. Yeah, I don't know whether you can see here. You can see here, yeah, some green moss like. That is a sign of overwatering. Sometimes you will see some white, I don't think it has developed, some white feathery stuff. That's a sign of overwatering, and that one is also a sign that the seeds it's cold, the soil is cold, so you can then move the location. Yeah. And then for underwatering, on the other hand, the soil starts to cake. Yeah, it just starts, your seed starting mix can just, it's really dry anyway. And then if you even lift your pot, it's quite light, so that means that you are underwatering. Yeah, so you need to be able to check that thing. And one of the things that I like to do is, when I water, I feel the weight and I note that. So then now that is what I use, and I'm like, okay, it's getting light, so which means it needs watering. And it's normally a good way to just check whether I'm on the right track or something is going wrong. So now I'm going to the next step. So now we've planted our seeds, we've gotten the mix right, our warmth, our oxygen, and our watering is going okay. So now your seeds start to germinate. Then what? So the very first thing that happens is, once your seed germinates, it develops, it starts becoming a plant, yeah? And at that point in time, you then need to factor in light. Yeah, so now that becomes very important. And your plants now need light so that they can start the process of photosynthesis. Yes? And so if you have placed your seedling, your seed starting pot indoors, and it's not a position where there is light, then you need to move it to a position where there is light. Yes. And then so that then the process of photosynthesis can start. If you've started your seeds indoors, don't take them outside at that point. Yeah, because then the shock of the temperature shift, it could easily shock the plant, and then it will not do very well. So keep it indoors, but move it to a windowsill and let it have sit there for a couple of days and start to enjoy the light and to start to photosynthesize. Now, sometimes you'll find that your plant is bending, like this one here. You find that your seedlings are bending. You can see they are bending to this way, to a certain direction. This is because the windowsill where they were sitting, the window was here, and so they are looking for the light. Yeah, so they're looking for the light, and they're like, and even though they were sitting at a windowsill, they're facing the light because they need as much light to start the process of photosynthesis. And now, once this happens, you can do two things. One, rotate it. Actually, the first thing to do, if they are still a little bit young, rotate it. Yeah, say you can even rotate it twice a day. Normally, the moment you rotate, after about an hour or two, you come back, you'll find they've started going back this way. Now, this starts to strengthen the seedlings, right? So you just rotate it. And then when your seedlings have grown to about, say, this is about a centimeter or so, now you start to take them outside. Yeah. So like now I've brought them outside to the balcony. You can see I've quite a number of them here at the balcony. And I'm trying to acclimatize them to the real life that they are going to live in, which is the outdoor climate. And this process is called hardening off. So you take them out say a couple of hours in the morning, then you take them back inside, then the following day you keep progressing the period of time that you take them outside until such a time that they stay outside fully, and then now there you start planning to transplant. Yeah. And so how do you know that your seedling is ready to transplant? Something happens. So when a plant germinates, it starts off with a certain set of leaves. Yeah. And those leaves are what we can call in layman terms baby leaves. And then from there, they grow a second set of leaves that look very much like the plant. So if you know what your final plant normally looks like, then you'll be able to recognize those leaves quickly. But if you don't know what that plant looks like when it's grown, then it is a second set. So when you see the first set of leaves, you're like, okay, fine. I see. And then now it's going to grow a second set of leaves, and those leaves are called the true leaves. So once you have your second set of leaves, yeah, or your true leaves, then your plant is ready to transplant. So if I can show you an example with this basil, you can see the lighter, smaller leaves. That's the first set. This one here, that's the first set of leaves. And then you can see the darker green one here, which looks closer to what a basil plant looks like. Then those are the true leaves. We have seen how to sow our seeds, and we have gone through the success factors for germination. Our next step now will be transplanting, and so that is the activity of transplanting our seedlings from the seed starting pot to the final location, whether it's a garden or it's a pot, where our plants are finally going to grow. And that's our next episode. So I hope you have learned something. I hope you have seen the little steps you need to take here and there so that we can have a successful seed starting journey. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Please subscribe. I really appreciate it when you do, and so that you're kept up to date or in the loop of when I do post my videos. And once again, I truly appreciate all the feedback that you're giving me. Thank you so much.